Today, let's make some good old-fashioned buttermilk pancakes, perfect for Shrove Tuesday, long weekends, or any day. These buttermilk pancakes turn out so thick and fluffy, and if you've been using a box mix to make yours, stop right now. These are too easy to make from scratch using ingredients you already have, and they always turn out so perfect. I've been making pancakes from scratch for my family since I was a youngster. That's how easy they are. And I've tried so many recipes over the years, but none of them compare to this one. They turn out so fluffy and soft, and this is going to be your go-to recipe too. First, we're going to need some buttermilk, and I don't have any today, which is perfect because now I can show you how you can make a really good substitute. Into a measuring cup, add 1 tablespoon of vinegar or lemon juice. I'm using vinegar. Now add 1 1/4 cups of milk, and I like to use whole milk for all my cooking and baking, but you can use partly skimmed. And it looks like I have just the right amount left. I'm going to let this sit for about 10 minutes and I'll show you what it's going to look like. Meanwhile, in a medium-sized mixing bowl, add 1 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour. You can use some whole wheat flour if you like. Next, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of sugar. That's not only going to add sweetness, but it'll also help make our pancakes nice and soft. Next goes in 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 full teaspoon of salt, which sounds like a lot for a recipe like this, but believe me, your pancakes won't be too salty. Now using a whisk, just mix this all together until all those dry ingredients are well incorporated. And using a whisk is a lot like sifting, so this is perfect. Now take a spatula and make a little well in the center, just like this. Now let's see what our buttermilk looks like. This has been sitting for 10 minutes and you can see that it's changed quite a bit. It looks kind of curdled and you can even see little chunks on the side of the measuring cup. That's exactly what we're looking for, and it means our buttermilk is ready. So we're going to now crack 1 egg right into the measuring cup. Then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of any neutral flavored cooking oil. I'm using vegetable oil today. You could use melted butter too, but you would not add it in at this point. I'll tell you later in the recipe when you would add melted butter if that's what you'd rather use. Adding melted butter in now would just make it solidify in that cold milk, and you don't want that. You could also add a teaspoon of vanilla extract if you wanted to. I never do usually, but if you wanted that little extra flavor, go for it. Now I'm going to whisk this together until that egg gets nice and scrambled. And just a quick reminder, if you're looking for a written version of this recipe, there's a link in the description that will take you to my blog post where you can print it off for your recipe box. Now I'm going to take my bowl of dry ingredients and pour the buttermilk mixture right into that little well. Now using your spatula, go ahead and start mixing this all together. And if you were using melted butter instead of oil, this is the point where you would add it in. That way it won't harden up in the cold milk and it will get mixed into the batter properly. Now once you've mixed it enough so that you don't see any big pockets of dry flour left, stop mixing. You don't want to overdo it. You can see here that this batter looks pretty lumpy. But those lumps are going to disappear once we cook our pancakes. If you were to whisk this vigorously so the batter was perfectly smooth, chances are your pancakes will turn out tough as frisbees. And as an optional step, if you have time, let the batter rest for 30 minutes. That's not a critical step, but I do find that letting the batter rest does give me lighter and fluffier pancakes. Now I like to cook my pancakes on an electric griddle because I can do a few at a time, but you can use a regular frying pan if you want. Wipe some oil on it to make it nice and greasy and heat it on medium for 8 to 10 minutes until it's nice and hot. Having a well-heated griddle or pan is so important when you're making pancakes, and I'm just using regular vegetable oil to grease it. Now once you've heated it really well, reduce the heat down to medium-low. That's really important. If your griddle is too hot when you make your pancakes, then they're going to cook too fast on the outside, they'll be raw in the middle, and they're even going to be more tough. I'm just going to cook 1 pancake right now to show you the proper way to cook them. And if your batter got too thick, if you let it rest for 30 minutes, just add a splash of milk or water to make it thinner again. This is what the consistency should look like. Make your pancakes as large or small as you want. And after about 2 to 3 minutes, you're going to notice a little bubbling on the surface, and it might even start to turn a little dry around the edges. Those are the perfect signs to tell you that your pancake is ready to flip. So take a peek and if you see that it's golden brown on the bottom, give it a good old flip. And look at how perfectly golden brown that looks. I find that cooking pancakes on an electric griddle always gives you a perfect looking pancake. Now, it's only going to take another minute or so on the other side, not as long as the first side, and you'll know it's ready when you press on it lightly and it springs back just like a cake. If you're still in doubt whether it's cooked in the middle or not, you can also flip it over and just check the inside by taking a knife and cutting a little slit in the center. And if you see that it's nice and dry without any gooey batter showing, then your pancake is cooked. That looks perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and cook more pancakes at once. I like to do 3 at a time on this size griddle. I could probably fit 4 on here, but I'm going to play it safe. And remember, 2 to 3 minutes until you see little bubbles and maybe some dry edges, then they should be ready to flip. Cook on the other side for another minute or so, and your pancakes should be ready. Do remember that all electric griddles and frying pans are different, so your times may vary, but this is a good guideline. And it looks like we're ready to serve up our good old-fashioned buttermilk pancakes. Let's slather some butter on there and cover those babies with some maple syrup, something we love here in Canada. I just know you're gonna fall in love with this pancake recipe, and it's probably going to be your go-to for every weekend. I have such great memories waking up early Sunday mornings and making these for my entire family. They always turn out so thick and fluffy and just irresistible when they're smothered in that syrup. Sometimes around here, we even eat pancakes for dinner with some sausages and some salad. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be making these this Shrove Tuesday. Just check out how light and fluffy those look. And the balance of flavor between the sugar and the salt is absolutely perfect. I will never make another recipe for buttermilk pancakes ever. These turn out so soft and delicious, why would you even bother with another recipe? So if you've been making your pancakes from a box mix, now you know how to make them entirely from scratch. And believe me, these ones are way better. Now, being the true Canadian that I am, I think the only thing these pancakes need is a little more maple syrup. Which, by the way, I also made myself from scratch, and I'm going to show you how to make that in the next video.